Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's get on to solving 5 questions for prelims 2020 for day 11. Question number 1. Which of the following is not a correct statement with reference to GST Council? Number 1. It's a constitutional body for making recommendations to union and state governments on issues related to GST. Number 2. It is chaired by the Union Finance Minister. C is the decisions of the council are taken by member through a simple majority of the members present and voting. Is it so? Last statement is it recommends the date on which the GST would be levied on petrol and natural gas. So among all these options, one is not correct. Please try reading this on your own. It's a very important question and try to come up with the right answer. So let's see the answer now. Herein, the decisions of the council are not taken by the simple majority. It is definitely a constitutional body. It has been established as per one of the article of the constitution, which is article 279A. Very, very important. Whenever we are to mention about GST in our polity or GS2 paper, it would really be okay if we end up writing article as well. And this GST, that is Goods and Service Tax Council, as per statement number last, that is, it would definitely be recommending when we would be levying GST onto petrol and natural gas. Right now, this petrol and natural gas is outside the ambit of GST, but in future it can be brought into, and not just the petrol, but these 4-5 points, and these are important. So the GST Council shall recommend the date on which the goods and services tax be levied on petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit commonly known as petrol, natural gas and aviation turbine fuel. Very, very important. Please memorize this. क्वेश्चन अभी GS3 में 2019 में यही आया था, गुड्स एंड सर्विस टैक्स के बारे में ही, कौन कौन से टैक्सेस नहीं जिन कमोडिटीज़ पे अभी हमने लगाए हैं. सो वी वर टू बी वेरी वेरी स्पेसिफिक while writing those answers. So all these factual details are indeed important. So cram them up right away. Petroleum crude, high-speed diesel, motor spirit or petrol, natural gas, aviation turbine fuel. Now herein, these are the items onto which we can impose the GST as per the decision taken by the Goods and Service Tax Council. But alcohol is outside its ambit. It means alcohol is something onto which we cannot levy GST. If we are to incorporate alcohol, then a constitutional amendment would be needed to brought into. So that is altogether a separate thing. I am sure we should be clear with this thing. So about the option number B, yes, it is indeed chaired by the Union Finance Minister. And now option number C is incorrect here. No, the decision is not taken by the simple majority, but by the majority of 3/4 of the weighted votes of the members present and voting. Now here every point is important. Members present and voting. हो सकता है कुछ लोग present हो but voting ना करें, abstain करें, so those would not be included. Just दो condition, members present plus voting. Then 3/4 of the weighted votes of the members. So this is our criteria to pass any resolution in the GST Council. That's it. And voting procedure is like this, not the procedure but the weightage. So central government has got weightage of 1/3 of the total votes cast, and state government rest of them. तो 1 से 1/3 निकाल देंगे तो 2/3 बचा. So 2/3 of the total votes cast in the meeting would be by the state governments, and central government 1/3 of the weighted vote cast, and 3/4 of the weighted votes cast we need to pass any resolution. So each and every point is important. Please memorize this. 279A, constitutional body. These are the taxes that can be brought in near future as per the decision of the GST Council. For the 3/4 of the weighted votes, 1/3 by central government, 2/3 by the state government. So let's get on to question number 2. Consider the following statement with reference to trade to GDP ratio of a country. Trade to GDP ratio. All right. कौन सा स्टेटमेंट इसमें करेक्ट है? नंबर 1, it is calculated how? By dividing the value of exports by the gross domestic product, that is GDP for a particular period. तो क्या export over GDP, ये इससे हमारा trade to GDP ratio आ जाएगा. Second, it indicates the degree of trade openness of a country. All right, is it so? Last is India's trade to GDP ratio is higher than the USA and China. So it's a factual detail that we should be knowing, and if we know, then let's get on to the explanation part. So please pause a bit as again and try to come up with the right answer. So let's get on to the answer. It's a trade to GDP ratio, and we know trade means a combination of exports plus imports. So how can we just be talking about exports here? So no, trade means trade to GDP implies export plus imports of goods and services divided by GDP. And just to present it in percentage format, although it's a ratio, but it can be presented in the percentage format as well, and this is not important. So trade means export plus import over GDP, that's it. Further, it definitely indicates the degree of the openness of a country. I do not think this point need any explanation. And statement number 3 is also correct. Intuitively, it seems as if India's trade to GDP ratio cannot be higher than USA and China, but then this is not the case. India's trade to GDP ratio is indeed higher than USA and China, because ऐसा समझना होगा हमें कि हमारा GDP in absolute terms भी कम है in comparison to USA and China. तो थोड़ा सा भी अगर उसका ट्रेड है तो रेशो वो बड़ी दिखाई देगी. So long story short, yes, India's trade to GDP ratio is higher than that of US and China. And how much exactly is it? In India's case, it's 58%. In China's case, it's 38%, and USA is 28%. तो chronology भी हम लोगों को याद रखना है अगर कुछ difficult question आ गया तो 58, 38, 28, that's it. तो अभी पूछा क्या था, कौन सा स्टेटमेंट करेक्ट है. सो स्टेटमेंट नंबर 1 इज रॉन्ग, एंड दैट्स हाउ ऑटोमेटिकली वी गॉट आंसर C, because 1 is either way in all other options. So let's get on to the next question now, which is question number 3. Again, simple. Which of the following statements are correct regarding keystone species? तो keystone species के बारे में कौन सा statement correct है? अगर ये आंसर हमको नहीं भी आता, still options are like this that we would be able to solve it. So don't panic. Either way, it's simple. Number 1, they are always the most abundant species in the ecosystem. तो क्या keystone species हमेशा ecosystem में बहुत ज़्यादा मिलने वाली species होगी? Second, herbivorous cannot be keystone species. All right. Select the correct answer. 1, 2, both, none. So pause a bit, try to come up with the right answer, and let's see the answer now. So none of these options are correct. These are either way obvious. What are the keystone species? Species means an organism. Keystone means जैसा एक हम आर्क बनाते हैं तो उस आर्क में एक सेंट्रल पीस रहता है, that is our keystone. The moment that keystone is taken away from that arc, the entire structure would collapse. Similarly, keystone is the most important organism of an ecosystem that helps defining that entire ecosystem. Without its keystone species, the ecosystem would be dramatically different, or it would end to exist altogether. So this is it. And they are always the most abundant species in ecosystem. No, numbers are not important. It's the quality that that species is having. So definitely not important. And even if in number terms they are not in abundance, still they can be a keystone species, right? And statement number 2 is herbivorous cannot be a keystone species. How could they not be? In some of the cases, even algae can be a keystone species, or any plant can to be a keystone species. That's either way obvious. तो बस ये गलत है, तो हमने दोनों statements पढ़ लिए, तो कोई भी सही नहीं है. So answer becomes D. Let's get on to question number 4. Brown to Green report is recently in news published by which organization? अभी ये आना चाहिए हमें because it was in news. Number 1, United Nations Environment Program. Number 2, Climate Transparency. C is International Energy Agency, and D is UN Secretariat. Please pause a bit and try to come up with the right answer. So answer here is Climate Transparency. So please again cram it now. Brown to Green report is recently seen in news published by the Climate Transparency. That's it. So basically it's by Climate Transparency. It's an international research collaboration, and what this report is all about, this is the most comprehensive review of G20 nations onto their climate performance. And as per this report, G20 nations are responsible for 80% of global greenhouse gas emissions. ये चीज़ हम किधर, in fact India too is a part of G20, so ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. So this is how it is. This is not covering all the countries of the planet Earth. It's just about G20 that comprise of 20 nations only. But let's not deviate and let's move on to last question, which is again very very simple, and it's basic question from our general science. हमें बताना है एसिड और उसका सोर्स. ऑक्सैलिक एसिड टोमेटो, तो क्या ऑक्सैलिक एसिड टोमेटो से मिलता है? लैक्टिक एसिड फ्रॉम लेमन. Citric acid is found in curd. Acetic acid is found in vinegar. I really am not gonna be reading options here because this should be either way obvious to us. So pause a bit and try to come up with the right answer. So let's see the answer now. Oxalic acid is definitely found in tomato. Lactic acid is not found in lemon, it's found in curd. Citric acid is found in lemon. So point second और third को interchange कर दिया गया. Acetic acid is indeed found in vinegar. So let's revise it here. Oxalic acid tomato, lactic acid curd, citric acid lemon, acetic acid vinegar, formic acid ants. So that's it. So we have covered 5 questions for day 11, and if you haven't gotten over any of the question, do let me know in the comment section. We'll discuss that again. And there is just one request, that if possible, try sharing this video with your friends so that maximum people can get the benefit, and that's it. So we are done. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.